bookshelf of our life every single day. And one day we'll be able to go back and pull those volumes off and read through those words, and we'll be able to see whether our words built other people up or whether they tore them down. We're building a legacy through what we're speaking every day. So the implications for other people, I think, are pretty serious in how we use our words every single day, for life, for death, for blessings, or for curses. But as serious as the implications are for other people, I think maybe the implications for us personally are even more serious. Because our words do say something about the condition of our hearts. And what does it say for me if I profess to know Jesus Christ, if I profess to have a relationship with God, if I claim to have been transformed by the grace of God through faith in His Son, and yet I use my words to tear other people down, and I use my words to deceive, and I use my words to slander, and I use my words to criticize and to condemn and to complain? What does that say for the condition of my heart? If Jesus was right, and I think that He was, out of a man's heart, out of the abundance of a man's heart He speaks, then there's something wrong if there's a disconnect between what I say the condition of my heart is and the words that I use. Here's what Paul said in Colossians 3, and I think this illustrates the point. Paul's writing to the church at Colossae, and he says this. He says, "Therefore consider the members of your earthly body as dead to immorality, impurity, passion, evil desire, and greed, which amounts to idolatry. For it is because of these things that the wrath of God will come upon the sons of disobedience. And in them you also once walked when you were living in them. But now you also," and listen to this part, "put them all aside. Anger, wrath, malice, slander, and abusive speech from your mouth. Do not lie to one another, since you laid aside the old self with its evil practices and have put on the new self, who is being renewed to a true knowledge according to the image of the one who created him." Paul said to these believers, he said, look, slander, abusive speech from your mouth, dishonesty, lying to one another, those are things that at one time characterized your lives. But now, he said, you have been renewed. You've been transformed. You've been changed through a relationship with Christ, and those things should not characterize your lives anymore. What Paul was saying is there ought to be a difference in the way that followers of Jesus Christ speak as opposed to people who don't know Him. And that's true for us here, today, right now. The implications for us, I think, in the way that we use our words outweigh even the implications for other people. Because the way that we speak every day, we are revealing the content of our hearts. And if I say that the content of my heart is a changed heart, is a transformed heart by the grace of God, and yet the content of my speech is slander, and it's deception, and it's abuse, and it's malice, and it's hatred, and it's all those things that Solomon says characterize foolish speech, then there's something wrong. There's something wrong. And chances are my words are conveying an accurate picture of what's in my heart. And what's wrong is this idea that I have that somehow I know God when my life and my speech has not been transformed by His power. So think about that 50-page book that's on the shelf of your life from yesterday. Think about that 50-page book just from yesterday. You took that volume down, and if you read through the pages, what would you read? Would you read speech that gave life? Would you read speech that encouraged? Would you read speech that built other people up? Would you read speech that was truthful 100%? Is that what you would read? Speech that says this person is a wise person whose life is characterized by righteousness? Or would that volume say something else? Would that volume give a picture of somebody who used their speech to deceive, to slander, to tear down, to curse? Would you read about somebody who used their speech in a way that was full of malice, criticism, betraying confidences? What would just that one volume from the bookshelf of your life, how would that read? Does your speech say that you are a wise person whose life is characterized by righteousness? or a fool whose life is characterized by wickedness? What does your speech say about you? There might be somebody here this morning who says, yes, I'm a believer, but you know, God is convicting me right now about the way I use my words. And I haven't been using my words to build other people up, and I haven't been using my words to speak life into my marriage, and I haven't been using my words to speak life to my children, and I need to confess that to God, and I need to repent. Maybe that's you this morning. Then do that. You can pray where you are. Sure, you can come to the altar and spend some time praying, but take the opportunity to confess that sin to God and to ask Him to forgive you and ask Him to continue to transform your mouth and your tongue and your mind and your heart and give you the ability to honor Him with the way that you speak. Maybe you're somebody here this morning and you say, you know what, I've always said that I know God and I've always said that I have a relationship with Him, but my speech really has never reflected that. And I need to talk with somebody about whether or not I do know God, whether or not He really has transformed my heart and my life. Then I would love to talk with you about your relationship with God. Maybe there's a husband and wife here who both need to confess to each other, look, we've been using our words to tear each other down, and we need to ask for forgiveness and to commit to God that we're going to do better. Maybe some parents. I don't know how God's leading you to take this truth and apply it to your lives, but I know this, we make so light of how we use words, and we think so little about what we say. But it's so important because our words are giving us a window into our hearts. And the condition of our hearts says something about our relationship with Jesus Christ. What are your words saying about you, and what do you need to do about it? We're going to pray, and then I'll invite you to respond.